It's Digi and May back again to do a Pokemon Blue Nuzlocke.
The OG.
May is going to be Nuzlocking. What are your rules for this Nuzlocke?
Alright, I'm gonna do standard rules plus Mumkey's rules about the gym. This is Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow Gen 1, so there's no held items or anything, so you can't really get that fancy. Standard rules are you have to catch the first Pokemon you encounter on a route. If not, SOL. If Pokemon faints, gotta release it. If you run out of Pokemon, game over. What are the other rules? Nickname? That's a rule, right?
I don't. What is a nickname? Do you have to nickname all the Pokemon? Is that just so you form more of an emotional bond with them or something?
Yeah, and it's also because people can grill you if your names suck.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and the gym rules are just gonna be that you can only bring as many Pokemon to the gym fight as the gym leader has. It makes it a little bit more challenging since I've played these games like 20 plus times, and also your Pokemon can't be
Have you really played these that many times?
I've played Pokemon Red and Blue so many times. Okay, or who's our rival?
Dick shit.
No. Okay.
You can fit dick shit.
Here we go.
It'd just be suck.
It's gonna be Snob.
Snob?
Snob is our rival.
Is he could be. Anime
I could
snob?
name him Vic Mignogna.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like he's
Snob
a good rival.
Why not?
Yeah, did I finish what I was saying? Just that you can't take Pokemon to the gym fight who are over the strongest Pokemon the gym leader has.
Okay.
So, just for a little extra difficulty.
I've never even attempted a Nuzlocke before. I only really found out about them because of Mumkey and Ben's Let's Plays.
Oh, there's a potion in here. I know where everything is in this game, so.
Well, I'm sure
that's not a surprise.
I'm sure that our audience is going to consist of a bunch of people who know absolutely everything, and if there was anything you didn't know, they would scream at you. So, it's good that you know everything.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that now, especially now that you've said that, it's going to be put to the test.
We don't gotta fuck around. We can just go right here.
Hey, wait!
Usually when I play Pokemon games, I do everything, but there's no need to. It's like, Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Like talk to every townsperson.
Oh yeah, go into every house, do everything.
So we're doing this because we have not finished Pokemon Coliseum yet, but it's such a fucking pain in the ass. Because May's computer, for some reason, the display driver keeps crashing.
It's because I have a bootleg Windows copy of Windows.
Not enough of an explanation. I have a bootleg copy. Actually,
yeah,
I think I bought a key.
A lot of the problems that I've had with my computer are just the fact that I am running bootleg Windows, and I don't really... It doesn't matter that much, but whenever I try to play,
whenever you try to play games on there,
any emulator,
as
soon as the drivers stop working, it'll just stop the game and
it'll crash out whatever you're doing.
Yeah, it'll crash it. And I was trying to level up in Coliseum at Mount Battle, and I lost 40 minutes of progress, and it was really sad.
So yeah, it's we still want to finish it at some point, but oh, should I hit the generate?
Yeah.
We got 1 through 3 on random.org, and the number is 2. Squirtle.
Got Squirtle.
Squirtle. It's appropriate. It's Pokemon Blue. I'm glad.
Alright, what are we gonna nickname it?
Because I only come up with stupid names, right? So you
I
might as well just come
know.
up with them yourself.
Oh, jeez.
I'm not gonna rest until there's a dick shit in the party.
Yeah. Alright, well, let's just get it over with.
Dick shit? Yeah!
Why are you so immature, is the question.
Dick Shit Island is a character that I made years ago. Well, he's a legitimate Digibro character.
Oh
Dick
my
Shit
God,
Island.
I hate this controller's... Why? Just... Okay, well, his name's Dick Shit Island, so that kind of fits.
Yeah.
Is there a hyphen in it?
No, just Dick Shit is all... His first name is Dick Shit, his last name is Island, so...
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, like, because of the fact that we hadn't finished the other game, it was like we wanted to finish it, but then it's like we weren't doing any Let's Plays. And I like doing Let's Plays because it gives...
It's a therapy session.
It really is. And I need that therapy sometimes.
And it's also a way for you to keep up with your brother because you don't talk to him.
Oh my god. That's another thing. Like, there's been... Because it's been a while. It's been like months since we last recorded one of these. And there's a ton of Vic and Hope that has come out. And every single episode, I have some kind of long response I could give to. And at this point, they're all those moments will be lost like tears in rain. Because fucking I have no recollection of all the arguments and retorts I wanted to make. Because as we were talking about this recently, like... I guess probably some people feel the same way about you and me, but it was more pronounced with Vic and Hope that, like, Hope doesn't really question the things Victor says so much as supplement them. Like, if he goes on a rant, she will supplement his rant with, like, additional information, and you do something similar when I rant.
When I agree with you.
Right. We usually agree on most things.
Usually.
Me and Victor did not often even really agree on a lot of the things we ranted about. So on the old Digi Bros show, it would be like Victor would start ranting about something and I would start tearing apart his argument and we would, you know, go back and forth. And a lot of the times, Victor does this thing where he just is more interested in talking about a subject than necessarily representing a, like, cogent argument, you know? Like, he's not so much saying things because he really feels strongly about it or that he's, like, put a ton of thought into it. It's more that he has an interesting thought or idea and he wants to share it. But if that is unchecked, then it just, like, you know, then you get the response. And that's why, like, it was different when we were both on the same show and I could just, you know, react to what he's saying right then and there.
So I'm not gonna waste an item slot because you have limited item slots in this game with the town map, because that's some pussy shit.
That takes up your...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that little...
I don't think I ever
bit of trivia
hit
in.
the maximum item amount in Pokemon Red. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother telling any...
You would if you played the game.
I'm not gonna bother telling any
like
stories about, like, Pokemon history, because I went through everything I have ever said.
Because everybody has Pokemon history,
yeah.
and it's not that interesting to hear about somebody talking about.
I don't know. I think it can be interesting, but, like,
I just am remembering in the
already.
fucking Anime Awards when whatever her name was just like, I used to play Pokemon on the playground. It's like, yeah, every kid did.
She wasn't even a kid because she was 31. So when she,
when she'd probably be like,
I guess she's only 4 years older than me.
Something.
She just looked so much older than she was. Anyway, yeah. So there's these Let's Plays are very therapeutic and also a place to just dump random thoughts that don't really deserve to have a whole video made about them.
Definitely.
It's like I always have just... Because I'm constantly thinking about shit. I'm always thinking of things that are, like, just little random tidbit things that, yeah, sure, it could be its own video, but I don't want to have to, like, read a bunch of comments about it or, like, have a whole discussion or make it a thing. Because, in my mind, making videos is basically nothing at all. Like, it's just something I do out of habit, and it doesn't mean anything to me. And, like... There's a lot of people who seem to have the feeling like, oh, you bothered to make a video out of this, which means it must be a big deal to you. And it's like, I don't feel that way at all. No, it's
like you have a thought, obviously you're going to turn it into a video because that's like what you do. That's
I have a camera on hand all the time. It takes all of 1 second to pick up my camera, turn it on, rant about my thought, and post it to the internet. But people are always like... People just blow it up bigger than it is. And so when you have a Let's Play and you just talk about 10 random things in an episode, then it doesn't really give the impression that you cared super a whole lot about it, so much as just you were looking for something to talk about. And granted, there's still people who take the things you say in a Let's Play mega seriously and get all fucking argumentative. But, and that's what I'm kind of also saying about the Vic and Hope thing, is that, like, I know Vic doesn't really look at it like he's making a statement that's, like, you know, like, oh, this is my fucking feelings. It's just like,
No, because
I'm doing a Let's Play. Here's what I'm talking about.
If he really felt that way, just to make a video about that. It's just, you are having a Let's Play, so you need to have discussion.
And sometimes you just want to get random thoughts off your chest. It doesn't even have to be good ideas or well thought out. You just want to... You have these things boiling inside you, and you need a release, you know? It's funny because, obviously, most people do not make Let's Plays. So I understand why, from their perspective, they might look at it differently, because they're like, well, you're a content creator trying to make entertaining media. And I'm like... Motherfucker, nobody watches my Let's Plays. I obviously don't do these for views. I do it for my sanity. For the therapy sessions that I need after I wake up and spend my entire morning blocking JoJo stans because they keep posting boomer memes about me. That's when I need therapy. The dog with the stupid like Doge with a it's like a Doge face with a hand pointing at you that just says ha ha ha, boomer. And I'm like, what? How is this even fun? Like the thing is that it is a trap. It is a bait trap.
Yeah, that's why
I understand the comedy of it is that it's obnoxious and unfunny. And so if you have any reaction to it at all, it means you are a boomer.
Yeah.
But it's the stupidest shit in the whole universe. And, like, that style of humor has never appealed to me, including when I was a kid, you know? Like, even when I was myself a 15-year-old shitlord on the internet, I fucking hated that style of humor because it's not funny, you know? It's just dumb shit that's... People are always trying to trap each other. It's always like, it's always a game that anything you say will be used against you because the opponent has nothing to lose. Only you have something to lose because you care about what people think of you or your reputation. But they have nothing to lose because they are no one and they don't care, you know? So, like, inevitably, anytime I see that, I'm just like, well... You're clearly not worth having around on Earth, so I'm going to block you, you know? But at some point, you also have to say, how much of my day am I going to spend doing this when I could just log off of Twitter and not just wait for people to shut up and not have to worry about it anymore?
Indeed.
But what great infraction I brought upon this world was that I don't think JoJo Part 5 looks good. And I made a big... and another part of it is that it's one of those things where when you... Didn't you have to... Oh, that's right. You don't have Pokeballs yet.
No, and I was just thinking about it. There's like this little hack. It's not really a hack, but if you go and fight Gary before you catch any Pokemon, or I think buy Pokeballs, and you go back to talk to Professor Oak, he'll give you like 5 free Pokeballs. Oh. But I don't think it's worth it because they're not that expensive to buy. And I think I'd rather have another party member before I fight Gary.
Yeah, just in case he manages to knock you out.
Yeah.
I've never lost to a Gary fight
The Gary fight on that route though is like specifically more
difficult. One on the route. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pick up some Pokeballs and get a guy. The first route I already encountered somebody, so I'll just go to the route above me.
Does it count if you couldn't have had Pokeballs?
Some people don't make it count, but like it's honestly just a Rattata or a Pidgey, so who fucking... I don't care. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna encounter Rattata and Pidgey anyways, so...
Well, I assume it's more about having backups, just in case.
Yeah, but I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't think that guy gives you Pokeballs.
But yeah, sometimes this thing happens where you say something on Twitter and it escapes your followers, and that is always my worst nightmare.
All right, what are we gonna get? Oh, it's a Rattata.
Because I like to present myself as an edgy, goofy, like, insane person on the internet, and my followers get it. They understand when I'm being a facetious shitlord. The outside community doesn't. And so when I'm screaming things like, if you think JoJo Part 5 looks good, you're wrong and you should hate yourself, these people think I'm being completely serious. And then they will say, like, oh, he's gonna try to play this off as a joke. And it's like, is it not obvious that it's a joke? Because I'm also the guy who's constantly ranting about how objectivity doesn't exist and how people can like whatever they want and I don't care. Like, but it makes it so it's impossible to crack this joke with people who don't know who you are.
No.
You know? And so, and then there's people...
It's surprising that there are people, though, in the anime fandom, even if they're just JoJo fans, who don't know who you are.
I mean, they're...
Like, I feel like you've blocked so many people that, like...
I'm like, when am I gonna run out?
Yeah!
Like, how are there so many fucking people out there to fucking block?
But it's true that JoJo is kind of like its own...
JoJo stands
it's a world
are
of its own.
a blight on humanity. But, there was one guy amidst the sea of people who were... Because there's a bunch of people who are like, how immature do you have to be to hate on people for liking something? And I'm like, okay, it's obviously a joke. I'm smiling and screaming. I mean, I don't know how many of those people even saw the video. I don't know how many of them just saw the tweets. But, like, if you watch the video, it's pretty clearly intended to be funny. I was originally going to set it to I'm Not Okay, I Promise by My Chemical Romance, but I thought it took too much of the impact out of it and made it less funny. But, like, you know, the people who are like, oh, how can you hate on people just for liking something? I'm like, well, these people clearly don't know who I am. Except for one guy who was like... Someone who had asked me, who previously had gotten mad about me saying something similar to that on Twitter, and had been like, he was kind of like, whether or not I continue to follow you depends on whether you think it's okay for people to like whatever they like.
Yeah.
And I responded to him, of course everyone can like whatever they like. This is a joke. And this was like months ago, I think. After this thing happened, he springs up and he's all like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have trusted Digi when he said people could like whatever they want. Look at him saying this. And I was just like, all right, you're getting blocked.
All right, we need a name
I will sometimes block for just too much autism. Nido King Kong. King Kong.
Yeah, that's
Kong.
what you're gonna do.
King Kong. If you hear me, for you see me. If you hear me, for you see me. If you hear me, for you see me. I got King Kong in the trunk. Hey yo, this beat is bananas. It's got the King Kong speakers, put them up in the trunk of the McLaren. When the doors go up, they fall off. Take a look at my ride, you see the doors is all off.
You okay?
Never okay.
No,
I'm never gonna be okay again.
I know.
That era of my life is over. I see no reason to be okay. That's the thing. I feel like being okay is just lying to yourself. Like, if you can look at the world as it stands, where people think that JoJo Part 5 looks good, and you come away from that thinking, I'm going to be happy and
yeah, but
content
that's not
for the rest
what
of my life.
okay means.
What do you mean?
Okay is like, well, I've survived. Like, even though the world, like, if you tell somebody I'm okay, it means, like, despite everything, I'm still here. I'm still standing.
Okay,
so,
well, I mean, I am okay in that sense, I guess.
Yeah, when I say are you okay, I mean, are you mentally there? Cause,
no, I'm trying to
you're
tell
not.
you.
You're
I'm
not.
trying to tell you that being mentally there is just lying to yourself. It's just convincing yourself that you're able to.
Because you should be able to just, you know, like, I mean, not should be able to, because obviously, like, sometimes you gotta, like, let it out. You gotta, it's okay to be, like, a little disturbed. But, I don't know, I just, you know, the world is full of fuck. If you didn't realize that, you're an infant.
Of
like,
course.
I hate most anime fans. Like, I was not, when you were going on your tirade last night, it's like, this is not surprising that this happened. Like, of course fucking JoJo fans are gonna come after you. Like, you saw the response just in your live stream of people who know who you are and like your content. So if you put shit on Twitter, like, people are gonna see it. This has happened before.
I didn't expect it to go so far so fast. I thought it was just gonna be my fans who like JoJo arguing with me, not a whole... Like I said, anytime one of my tweets escapes from my fandom, it is the worst. Because it's people who are just meme lords, you know? And I hate meme lords. I hate memes, honestly. I don't think I like memes because I don't think they're funny.
I definitely didn't think the
Ha ha ha
haha boomer meme is particularly funny, but
no, it's.
I like memes.
What's a meme you like?
I like Pepe. I like the Doomer meme.
Doomer is the best.
I like
meme.
the Chad versus the Virgin meme.
Never mind, I've completely changed my mind.
I love memes.
Memes
what are you
great.
talking about?
Well, you know, select memes are great, but it's like 1% of all memes. I guess it's just as much as anything else.
Yeah.
Sturgeon's revelation and all that.
Are you sturgeon? Are you sturging it up?
I'm sturgeon it up. Do you know Sturgeon's revelation? 90% of everything is crap.
Yeah, you've told me that.
No.
I've heard it many a time.
It's the
via
truth.
the PCP.
It's the truth. You're not concerned about dick shit's health?
I got poison. I got potions. I'm not concerned about shit.
Damn. So, I guess we're just grinding right now?
Yeah, I just want to level up some of my guys before the Gary fight. I'm not going to have this be too grind heavy because, again, I put the caps on the gym leaders because I think it makes it more fun to do it that way. But, yeah, I just want to get the Nidoran up to, like, level 5 before I fight Gary.
Gary. You know, I find myself in a weird position as a critical analyst because the kinds of stuff that I like to read, I really enjoy like reading higher level analytical writing where it kind of just supposes that you know a certain number of things. Like, if a video has to explain to me that this is just my opinion, I feel like I am being talked down to. And yet, I know why that's necessary. Because there are so many people who don't just assume that, who do think that there is some kind of objectivity in reviews and that reviewers' goals are to be objective, that every time you don't explain it, someone's gonna misunderstand. But to me, it's just like patronizing to have to be told something like that, right? And so I feel like in the early part of my career as an anime YouTuber, I tried to establish this baseline where I kept making videos about just like the general principles of what I think is good. Like, for instance, the video what was it called? How to define the best looking anime. That was like, here's a bunch of parameters that we can talk about so that when we discuss anime in the future and I say that this looks bad on X basis, then you can fill in the blanks yourself because I've already given you the tools. I've already taught you the baseline of like what I mean when I say these things. And so in the future, I shouldn't have to explain myself over again. But once more, you can't ever count on everybody to have seen your old shit or even to remember your old shit and even know what the hell you're talking about, you know? So
no,
like,
absolutely not.
So you find yourself in this position where you're constantly having to either explain yourself again or just appeal to a more limited audience. And I don't really have the ability to like control who watches my videos aside from if I posted them like exclusively to Patreon, you know, but then there's no room for growth. So it's like inherently I have to put myself into this maelstrom of like communicating with everybody and, you know, always asking myself like, how dumbed down do I want to make this? I don't even know if I knew you could do that, switching the moves around like that. Can you do that in all the games?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I must have known that at some point, but I definitely had forgotten.
Yeah.
I'm a low-level Pokemon player.
It's embarrassing.
I'm sorry. I mean, I've been playing it for longer than you have, but I never consumed like media about Pokemon, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like when I was a kid, it was just a video game, and there was no outside information.
Yeah, I had all the Prima guides.
Yeah, I never had a Prima guide for Pokemon. Did they teach you stuff like that?
Yeah,
Like,
they
hey,
taught you what
rearrange your
the
moves?
buttons did.
That's
Because the
funny.
button doesn't do anything else. Like,
Yeah.
I think actually you can do the select item with that button.
I mean, I knew
too,
you
but-
could move items around in your inventory because that's how you do the missing no glitch, which I knew how to do. But I did not
yeah, I
know
forgot
about
about
moving
that.
moves around.
Oh my god, go away. Leave me alone.
But fucking JoJo meme. I didn't
You
even
didn't- you
realize
didn't
he
see
noticed. Didn't notice. So JoJo
I'm just gonna run
meme.
away. There we
So
go.
like sometimes having to explain myself fills me with a sense of defeat. Like it makes me feel like it just makes me feel as
Alright,
though
here's
like
the big battle. This is probably like one of the toughest battles.
do you even have to do this battle?
No.
What made you decide to do it?
The fact that this Pidgey's gonna kill my fucking JoJo meme in one hit. It
Oh,
didn't.
you got lucky as fuck.
I didn't realize that his Pokemon would be level 9, but it's okay. I have potions and
This
shit.
could easily be the world's shortest Nuzlocke.
No, it's not gonna.
Do you remember the one that me and Monkey did that lasted 2 episodes?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh no, it missed. Oh, he's fucking doing the sand attacks. I might have to switch out again.
Oh god.
Fucking pain in the ass.
But will he even be able to resist a hit? Or, like, will he live?
Will King Kong live?
Yeah. Did half his life, so you
It's
can't leave
okay.
him out. I mean, did the
I forgot
accuracy
that the
come back
Pidgey
if
would be
you
level
switch him?
9. This seems like unfair.
Well, you're not necessarily meant to fight him here.
Yeah, you are.
You don't have to. I never fought him here in my first playthrough.
I mean, you just can skip the fight altogether, but this is when you're supposed to fight him, if you fight him.
Well...
I'm not gonna lose. I have 3 potions.
Alright.
It's just really obnoxious. So, I was like, okay, I don't want to spend too much time grinding. I remember this fight being difficult, but, not impossible.
Well, in any case, what I was talking about is the sense of defeat that comes when you constantly have to explain the same shit over and over again, and when you can't just say, like, you want to
I love
believe
speed.
that at some point you don't have to go into the same level of detail to be understood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sorry, I know you're enraptured in a very difficult
I'm in a fight.
moment at this
And I'm
time.
probably gonna lose the game, honestly.
You think so?
I think it's possible. I don't remember how
you were
strong
telling me
his,
it wasn't gonna happen a second
If we
ago.
lose, we're gonna have to delete this. I'm not gonna put this online.
No,
No.
but I've already talked about so many things.
I'm gonna be too embarrassed. I mean, I guess I just will never do another Let's Play again.
Oh, jeez.
Which is gonna happen. Yeah, it's happening. Oh my god. No!
It won't die.
That's my last potion. And he has a fucking, Bulbasaur.
Well,
This is why Sand Attack is banned. Don't fuck around with Sand Attack.
oh god, it does so little damage. No.
Stop it. Okay, well, we're switching out. JoJo meme, I'm sorry, you have to die. It's the only way.
Well, oh, you sand attack. What a fool.
What a fucking baka. Well, maybe he won't die.
So does switching him out make his accuracy reset?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's okay. It's okay. One of these guys is gonna die. I mean, at least I'm gonna have to sacrifice a party member, immediately. When he switches out his Pokemon. I think JoJo meme... King Kong leveled up.
Dick shit didn't even level up?
Yeah, okay. Okay, JoJo meme, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, JoJo meme. Bulbasaur's only level 8.
Why is his Bulbasaur lower level than his Pidgey?
I'm gonna put a tail whip on him. Maybe he won't die.
He was foolish enough to use Growl, so...
Alright, let's go to King Kong. Let's go to King Kong.
Shouldn't you have just let JoJo Meme die so that you could have
I don't want to
an
wipe
attack?
out. I don't. No.
Okay.
Okay.
You didn't do much.
Let's hopefully he wastes. Oh my god, I might actually win.
I'm not willing to talk until this is over because if you make me delete this, then I will have lost anything I said.
Okay, this isn't bad. Okay, it's doable.
You think you just lost King
fuck.
Kong?
That's fine. I don't care.
Oh god.
I can do it. Okay. I think tackle because he's lowered and yeah, let's do tackle. Okay. JoJo Meme, thank you. Thank you, JoJo Meme.
JoJo
we can do it, we can do it, we can do it. JoJo Meme! JoJo Meme! Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it goes on forever.
It's okay. It's okay.
Unending,
We did it.
unyielding. He's
We did
leashed
it.
you, he's seeded you,
It's over.
he put his seeds in you.
Well,
Holy fuck.
that was like that was probably the hardest battle in the game.
Oh god, what a nightmare.
I'm glad I decided to do it because it definitely was exciting, but
Well,
it
you have
was
to throw
really
away King
scary.
Kong
That's
now.
fine. It's fine. I was happy to get him as the first Pokemon on this route, but it's okay.
I mean, Nidoking would have been such
Nido
a
King's
huge
great,
boost.
but I have JoJo Meme. I have JoJo.
You do have JoJo Meme. Rattata. Well, what are you doing? Go to the
No,
fucking Pokemon
I know,
Center.
I know. The buttons don't work on this controller.
You're the one who requested the pad.
I thought
can
it would
remap
be
it to
more.
the,
I thought it would be more like.
I can map
you
it to
know.
the stick if you want.
That's fine. That was horrifying. Well,
Anyway.
time to put him in the box.
Oh, I thought you had to like release it.
That's what you have to do.
Oh, you have to put it in
You
the
have
box.
to make sure it's in the box first.
You see.
Alright. King Kong.
King
It's
Kong.
nice knowing you.
Well, if you heard him before you saw him, he had King Kong in the trunk. He said this beat was bananas. And when his doors went up, they fell off.
Fuck monkeys. Alright.
Anyway, now that that trauma has ended, resuming
We are all here.
what we were talking about.
I'm gonna trade up JoJo Wii, but I'm also gonna
Like,
get a new party member.
all right,
Who could it
imagine
be?
one time, you. In fact, I'm just gonna ask you to tell this story. Tell the story of why you
I'm scared.
are somewhat afraid of like boxed macaroni and cheese, particularly the Wegmans brand boxed mac and cheese.
Okay, when I was a wee child, I was probably in 4th grade. I was living with my grandparents when my parents were moving from Pennsylvania to New York. And, you know, you're in a dusty old grandparents' house, and they always, like, have food for their grandchildren. Because, like, they want kid-friendly food. They want to, you know, be hip. But, you know, sometimes the food gets left in there a little bit too long because they probably bought it, like, 3 or 4 years ago. So I was over their house, and my grandma makes me mac and cheese. But because they're old, they don't realize that you have to get Kraft. Because that's the only way to go if you're gonna get box mac and cheese. Because
Yeah.
you can make it on stovetop and it's actually better. But if you're gonna use a box, use Kraft. Like, you can get generic a lot of other things. Don't fuck around with mac and cheese. Anyways, I was eating the mac and cheese that my grandma made for me after school, and there's like these like little green pellets. They look like pellets in it, and then I take a closer look, and there's like mealworms in the mac and cheese. Like, it's completely infested with mealworms, and it was really fucking gross.
So yeah, that is a good reason, a good traumatic reason to be like, hey, I don't fucks around with this brand of mac, because sure, I know that the mealworms are there probably because
it was really old.
It was old and outdated, but it's disgusting. I don't want the memories. And also, why even bother with Wegmans mac and cheese when you can get Kraft?
For a very similar price,
so-
because it's box mac and cheese.
So
not
you've told me that story, and you have told me it several times, just because you clearly like telling the story.
It's really traumatic, and I'm obviously trying to work through it. That's
Yeah.
why I repeat it.
But you can probably agree that it would be really frustrating if every single time you told me, like if every time we went to get mac and cheese, and you said, I don't want to get the Wegmans kind, I said, how come? And made you tell that story again, right? Wouldn't that get really fucking infuriating? Because you'd be like, I already told you the fucking story. You should know by now.
I have to deal with that with other people, and you know how I get.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I want to be mean, but I kind of want to be mean.
Okay.
Okay, so, Kazi, Munchie's
Uh-huh.
Munchie's girlfriend, she hangs out with us a lot whenever he's over, and there's like this whole hashtag #MeToo conspiracy drama shit going on, and she likes this band called Sigaros, and apparently like the
One of
lead
them
singer
got
was
Me Too'd.
caught up in the Me Too shit.
I don't think it was a singer. It was like a bassist or
Who
something.
cares? But like literally every single time I see her, somehow it comes down to that conversation, and she says the same thing about it.
Okay, well, that's the opposite problem of what I'm talking about.
No, you're talking about the same story.
No. You don't understand. I'm saying how tired would you get of telling the story?
Of telling it?
Yeah.
Never.
Okay,
Because
well,
it's
this is a
a
bad
well,
example.
actually,
then.
I don't know. I would get tired of
Okay,
telling that
let me-
particular
let me
story.
like,
I'm
what
sorry. Now I
You
fucking just ripped on
you
Kazi for no
completely
reason.
missed what I was trying to say entirely.
I'm still shaken up over that Gary fight.
I'm building up to something,
no.
and it's really difficult.
Can we not release that?
Anyway,
I'm having fun, by the way.
The point I'm trying to make is that if we went to
You
Wegmans,
should have stopped me. Why didn't you
I didn't
stop
understand
me?
where you were going. I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh no, you should. But as soon as I said Kazi, you should have been like,
I thought you were gonna say something
Should've,
else that
like-
she had.
"Stop it. Shut up."
Okay. Let me try to fucking. I clearly chose a terrible example to
I'm
go
sorry.
with here. Let me try to think of a better
Oh
way of putting it.
no.
Like, fuck.
Oh my god, I know what I'm gonna name him.
All right. Let's say that that you see me. I'm trying to think of a fucking good metaphorical example of some kind that actually makes, because it's difficult to describe this in a way that
Do you like the nickname for
Wegmans.
Caterpie? Weggies.
All right, let's say that you see me like cutting the crust off of bread, right? And then you're like, why do you cut the crust off your bread? And I'm like, oh, because one time I choked on it, and so I prefer to just avoid it entirely, right? And then another time you see me cutting the crust off of bread, and you're like, why are you cutting the crust off the bread? And I'm like, I already told you why I cut the crust off the bread. Why do you keep asking me?
Yeah.
This is what I'm trying to
I
describe.
understand. I kind of have to live with that because I have a nut allergy, and like
Right.
anytime somebody's like, "Oh, you aren't eating dessert. Oh, you aren't gonna eat this," it's like, God damn it! Like I have a nut allergy.
You know I have a nut allergy.
Or like even if those people don't know, it's annoying to have to explain it every time. And
Right.
like you're supposed to do it every time you go to a restaurant, but it's like it's really fucking obnoxious
And
to have
it's-
to say it again and again and again.
It's a kind of thing where there are times, like if you were at a
Okay.
restaurant, you know, okay,
This is why I could never be trans, because you would have to explain your
Yeah.
pronouns over and over and over again.
well, it's like it's one thing when you're in new situations, right? Because, like, if you go to a new restaurant and this waitress doesn't know who you are, you expect that she doesn't know I have a nut allergy. I will go ahead and say it. But when, like, a family member is continuing to make the same mistake,
but they do that
over
that
and
happens.
over again,
that happens.
And, like, on the one hand, I understand that, like, not everybody is keeping track of all your shit at all times, and I'm very forgiving for the most part about this kind of thing. But, like, as a video creator, when I have to explain the baseline of what I'm talking about over and over again, even though I have other videos that you can easily revisit, and, like, when I feel as though I have made my overall stance and, like, why I feel the ways I do so clear, and yet I'm still being asked for more clarification, it steadily drives me insane.
Yeah.
And so with something like this, my JoJo video where I'm just screaming, the reason I chose to make it that way is that I don't want to have to explain in depth why this show doesn't look good, because it's the same reasons I've talked about a million fucking times. I've talked about all of these types of design elements. I've talked about what makes a show look good or bad from my perspective. And, like, I don't see how you could look at this show, know anything about me, and think I would be okay with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are some people who are like, oh, you know, can you go into more depth? And I'm like, I feel like I've already lost if I have to go into more depth, because I've already gone into so much depth about what I think good visuals are, that, like, if you can't take that, you know, those things I've said before, and then apply them here, then I don't feel like I've taught you anything, you know? It's just like every single time I have an opinion, I have to explain it from the very core all the way to the very end, because people aren't retaining the things I've said.
Yeah.
You know? They're not retaining the logic at the core of it. It's kind of like why in math, your teacher always asks you to show your work. And it always drove me insane, because it's like, you know how I got here, because I used to do a thing where I would show my work on the first equation and then not on the ones after that, because obviously I did the same thing, and it's faster for me to do it in my head. And I would get in trouble for that, and I'd be like, why do you need to see my work on every fucking equation? It's the same fucking process. I'm applying the same logic. So, like, for me, it's like, once you've set up that baseline, the only interesting things to talk about are the things that are different or new. And that's why, like, after a couple years of me doing my videos, I was more interested in doing stuff like the most interesting thing about, like, that video series, because the way I saw it, it was like, well, sure, I could give a full review of Gakko Garashi and spend 15 minutes talking about why I think the artwork is good, or my opinions on the character design, or the sound design, or this and that. But, like, you could have figured all that out based on what you know of my taste. You can just take that, apply it to this show, but let me tell you what one element of this show is different from anything I've ever said before, you know? And that was, like, the conceit behind that, and, like, behind a lot of my shorter videos, where I just feel like I shouldn't have to extend this to be 18 minutes so I can once again talk about why the animation is good or bad, when you should already know how I feel about animation, you know?
Yeah, and it's kind of really sad, because, like, YouTube videos have just become plug and play. Like,
oh my god, and it's insufferable when I have to watch a video that goes through every single step of the conversation, and it's like, I don't need all that extra information. Like, I don't need to have every aspect of it laid out for me again when I already know how you feel, you know? But, like, again, there is no way to, like, check what videos your audience has seen, or what they remember, or what they're applying. It's just like, you know, in my mind, I feel like I've already said my piece, but then other people are like, oh, well, why do you feel that way about this thing? And I'm just like, take what I said about the last thing, and you can easily figure it out, you know? But, like, on the other hand, I also appreciate that, like, yeah, it is my job, I guess, to share as many of my opinions
I'll
as
just waste an
humanly
antidote.
imaginable.
I'll just waste a fucking antidote. Just buy another one.
Yeah, it's a little too dicey.
It's a little too risky just because, like, it's at the bottom of the map over here. I think it would have been fine, but, like, I don't
know. Kind of looks like you...
No, I don't think I would have.
might have died.
I think it probably would have had, like, 3 HP left, but, better safe than sorry.
So yeah, that's why sometimes I just want to scream about things, because I don't want to have to explain every single opinion I have in, like, starting from the beginning of the universe and making it up to this moment, you know? Like, I don't want to have to always be breaking down my whole philosophy, everything I think and feel about everything. It's just like, I just want to let you know how I feel about this thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like...
You can't even buy potions at that Pokemart.
I guess it just frustrates me to not, like, to not be able to have both. It's like, yeah, I obviously I like to go into depth about things when I think it's interesting or there's new information or, like, it's something really unique. Like, going in depth about Log Horizon, it's like, well, I haven't put out, you know, part 5 is still in writing, but, like, with part 5 I started, like, skipping a lot more of the show because I'm like, I've already talked about the transitions, I've already talked about the directing style, I've already talked about these things, and, like, I could continue to break down every single time something clever happens, but you should be able at this point to watch the show with what I've said in mind and by yourself pick up on all these extra things, you know? Like, if you hadn't already caught on to how cool the transitions were when you watched the show the first time, you don't need to have every single one pointed out. You just need to know that it's something to look out for. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah.
You know? So, like... And, of course, I've been doing my career for so fucking long that I understand that, like, it's possible a lot of my viewership is just even completely new and has never even gone back through my shit and does need to be re-reminded. But that, it just speaks back to a broader problem I have with people in general of always valuing whatever's new or whatever's current and not going back. Like, when I find out about a YouTuber, I usually binge their entire fucking career right then and there, you know, because, like, I want it, like... Hey, this person makes good content, so their back catalog is going to be more reliable than things currently being released by other people, you know? So, yeah, that's what's been on the mind today, this morning. But, like, God, JoJo Part 5 is absolutely hideous, and it's a real shock to me. It was honestly, like... It's one of those things where I see other people going like, how can you have this opinion? And I'm like, I feel way more shocked than you do, buddy, that you have the opinion you have. Like, every bit of surprise that you seem to feel, I feel exactly the same amount of surprise. So how about you explain yourself to me? Why do I have to do all the explaining? You tell me how this is justifiable, you know? And then I'll tell you why you're wrong.
That would be an interesting video, or an interesting kind of, like, analysis, is why the JoJo designs in part 5
I mean, like I said, I
suck.
could... Oh, why they don't suck? Like, somebody having to defend it?
Yeah.
I mean, a huge part of this is also that, like, the argument began because of it winning best character designs, and most people don't really understand what that means in the context of anime, because they're just thinking about how good the characters look posed on paper, and that's not what character design means in the context of an anime, you know? Like, the character designer does not just draw pictures of the characters and leave them there for everybody else to animate. That's not what their position is, you know? And, like, you could also chalk it up to animation directing. You could chalk it up to this or that, but, like, I don't think the designs are adapted to animation well. I think they look great in the context of the manga, where they were designed by the manga author. But, I mean, I think all of the JoJo anime looks pretty terrible. Like, Part 4 was the best looking one, and even that doesn't look incredible, you know? So, that one had more interesting directing and, like, color design and shit, though. Whereas Part 5, the colors are just abysmal. Oh god.
Pretty colors, Digi bro.
Pretty colors. Everybody should be pretty colors. Like, why are you watching anime if you don't care about colors? Go read manga. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you have particular color palettes you're more drawn to.
Oh, of course.
And
ones that look good.
Yeah.
This game
but,
has a great color palette. This
agree.
looks great right here.
Yeah, they definitely did the best they could.
Yeah, I like the
with the
I like all the
limited
cool
resources.
tones. You know, the greens and blues and like the really light green accents on everything.
Is there no Pokemon in this world?
This is odd. This is an odd amount of time to walk through Viridian Forest and not run into something.
There's just like not a lot of wild
Metapod.
Pokemon in Viridian Forest as compared to like the cave. Metapod's great.
Man, they changed
Metapod
that
is great.
They changed that considerably in Pokemon Let's Go, where the Viridian Forest was just like non-stop.
Oh yeah. Pokemon Let's Go is great.
It's pretty wild.
It's fun. It's not as good as the original games, but they have.
It's a very different type of game.
It's definitely different. It's fun to just play on the couch. I mean, I haven't really like played any more of it, so it can't be like that great of a game. Cause like
you weren't drawn to it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well,
feel
we
as
also don't
addictive.
own a Switch, so like playing it is a matter of taking Tom's Switch downstairs and plugging it into the TV if you're not playing it handheld.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess
so,
that's
like,
true.
It's just like we have, because we basically have two setups in the house. We have the upstairs I Am Games setup and the downstairs office setup. And, you know, when we're using Tom's shit, then that means taking things up and down the stairs, because he's obviously going to play it upstairs. God, fucking playing video games can be a real hassle when you don't, like, one of the number one things I want to build when we move is, like, a permanent setup for everything, because I really, I envy that shit. It's like goals, like, my dad has this this friend who moved into $1 million house at one point, and he had an entertainment room where like all of the consoles were permanently hooked up, and they all had cords running through the walls and everything. So like, there's no apparent cords anywhere, and like, you know, surround sound speakers built into the walls and everything. So like, when you enter the room, it just looks like a TV and a couch. But like in actuality,
it's
everything is hooked up,
shit. That's
and if you just have a remote, you can switch between it all.
That's like
so,
porn.
right, and like meanwhile, the setups that we have here are all these garish cord monstrosities because the fucking house has the shittiest electrical wiring ever. Where there's like, the office has literally 2 outlets. The office that we do all of our life and work in, and one of them is in a closet.
Yep.
So we've got the closet.
I don't even understand how they could have had anything. They had like a home office here. But,
I
like,
think
you
they
would
just
need,
had a computer and
you would
nothing
need
else.
like lights, yeah, like
With one power
lights,
strip.
computer.
Because like what I have going on is
speakers.
on one of the outlets I've got 2 power strips, each of which is completely full of like my whole computer, TV, gaming setup, like everything. And then also when I have to plug, like if there's anything else electronic, like plug in your computer or laptop, plug in a phone charger or something, like it all has to go through the same spot because there's just no more space. And like I can't, you know, I can't necessarily afford to buy infinite fucking extension cords and fucking what's it called, power strips. And then we've got the closet one, which has an extensive cord.
It'll trip the breaker if you fucking put too much shit in.
Right, that too. And then like also we've got power line adapters, which is how we
shit.
use internet throughout the house. So that takes up a spot, you know.
Oh shit! I got a Metapod.
And yeah, the power system, the power structure in this house is absolutely asinine because almost like what 60 or 70% of the like usable parts of the house are all on the same fucking breaker switch.
It's
so,
really stupid. This
like,
house is like too fucking old, and
yeah,
like for the price that we're paying to live here, it needs to be more modern.
It's Garbaggio.
Garbaggio. Yeah, a little bit.
But yeah, it's a nightmare to keep all our shit plugged in and to constantly have to move things around and reconfigure them. So like, I just want to have like, you know, that permanent setup where it's like all of the consoles are neatly lined up. They're all permanently plugged in. There's a HDMI switcher that I could just have all of it plugged into permanently. Never have to turn anything, you know, never have to trade HDMI cords between consoles or fucking, you know. Oh my god, it's Pika Pika! Pika Pika! Gotcha. I also just want to have setups for all kinds of things. I'd love to have like a permanent stations for things, which like back before I moved out of my parents' house, I had a lot of like setups in my room where it was like, okay, over here is like the talking about anime spot, and over here is the talking about manga spot, and over here is like the talking about music spot, and like that was cool, but that room was weirdly arranged, and because of the fact that I didn't live alone, like it was not a good idea to record too close to the door of the room because you'd be able to hear like the TV downstairs and like other stuff going on in the house. So I tended to record only in like half of the space, and then like, you know, there were just parts of the room where you could hear more road noise and stuff because it was close to a major road. So it's just like only so many places, but like I only had one camera and one microphone, so regardless of where I recorded, I always had to set up because I'd have to move everything to that part of the room. And over time, I got better and better. I figured out what are the optimal setups for being able to do that. For instance, in this room, I have a mic arm that is just attached to the table, and the table is like a Walmart table that can easily be moved and slided around the room. So it's like if I need to record at the desk or if I need to record on the couch or somewhere else in the room, I just move the table and the mic is there for wherever I need it to be. And then the camera is on a Gorilla Pod, so I can put that literally anywhere, just attach it to any tall enough surface.
Stop with the poison hacks, please.
And that's fine. Those things are like fairly convenient, but like when I see like Casey Neistat's office where he has that one like vlogging camera rig set up that's just permanently in front of his table, and like, you know, anytime he enters the room he can just turn on that camera and it's all set up perfectly. The lighting is already set up, you know, he never has to change lighting because the whole office is lit so that no matter where he's standing there will always be good lighting. And you know, he doesn't have to change the camera's position because it's set up in just the right spot. There's a mic attached to it, you know, there's a fucking LCD screen attached to it. It's like, fucking goals, man. And like, I want more setup. I want a better setup. And like when we moved here, like I wanted to get a larger sized place because I was planning to build like setups and sets. Like I was gonna put together some kind of set in the upstairs, but like I ended up not having the money because the place costs so much. So it's like, well, now I've got the space to build something, but I don't have the money to build something. So now I want to move somewhere smaller so that we have the money to build something and just use the space better, you know? Because like if PCPHQ had like just become a thing right when we moved in, then I would have, you know, had cause to have sets built and stuff. But like when I just do work by myself, like the amount of effort it takes to set up like a set is not worth the amount of impact it has on a video, you know, as compared to just hitting record.
I mean, you do still do some sets like for
the Art So Fartso videos
and Let's Argue.
Yeah, I mean that was a green screen.
Yeah, but I mean, you still.
But that's another case of me not having a permanent setup. Like I would love to just like. When I was watching Anthony Fantano's Let's Argue videos, I realized, like, it's easy for him to do those because he just has a permanent green screen up on this one wall. Like, he just has a space in his house where there's a green screen there, and he's got 2 lights stationed in front of it. So, like, when he wants to film something, he just plops his tripod in front of him, turns the lights on, and hits record. When I wanted to do it, I had to set up the green screen, set up, bring the camera upstairs and set up the tripod, set up lights, which is impossible because I don't have lights that have actual stands. I just have, like, I have clamp lights, but they don't even have clamps. Like, they came with clamps that you can attach to them somehow, but they don't, like, the clamp doesn't attach to the light correctly. It's very fucking strange, these lights that I have. But, so I just was kind of like just putting them on surfaces and trying to string them up awkwardly, which means I can't aim them. So, like, I just have to put them somewhere that they are good enough to lend some light, but I can't actually, like, manufacture a correct lighting setup with these lights. So it's just throwing lights in just to have lights, and then the fucking camera doesn't last long enough that I could do it without needing to charge. So I had to bring an extension cord into the room so that I could put, which was already in use elsewhere, and then put that extension cord on top of 2 sleeping bags that Nate and Michelle left at our house and their parents never came back for. I had to stack it on top of those so that it would be high enough up to reach the short cord that I have for the camera, because I don't have a long power cord for it. I just have the, standard issue.
This sounds like the most ratchet.
It was ratchet as fuck, and it took like 30 minutes to set up, as opposed to Anthony Fantano literally plopping down a tripod and turning on the lights, and that's all he'd have to do. So, like, that's why I want that kind of permanent setup. But, like, the only way I'm gonna get that is if I buy lights that have stands and then, commit a space to be the green screen space and have all that shit permanently there. And, like, even doing that, really, it kind of is a lot easier to do that kind of stuff when you have just a couple of concrete series. Like, Fantano has either he's doing a review, which means that he is standing in front of his, bookcase, his vinyl collection. Well, not standing. He's actually sitting in all his reviews. Not a lot of people know that.
You can tell, like, once you see it,
sometimes,
you can't unsee it.
Yeah, sometimes you see him swiveling around and shit. But, yeah, he's sitting in a chair that's just, like, got a small back, I guess. And, in front of his record collection with this little green screen cutout in the wall. And then he's got a green screen on the other side of the room that he does other things. And so those are the only setups. So every time he does a video, it's either or, flip on lights. He might even have 2 cameras. Like, maybe he's got one in each spot. I doubt it. He would probably just move the camera. He doesn't seem like the type to own excessive shit if he doesn't need to. Whereas Casey Neistat will, because Casey just wants to have every single conceivable thing as optimized as possible, and he has the money to do that. Oh, boy.
Fucking Casey Neistat. That Burger King video he made was, like, the worst.
Yeah.
The one where, Burger King, liked a bunch of his old tweets, and then he, went on a tear about how, oh, well, if Burger King, really wanted to, it was, really weird, because he was, trying to, say that he was angry, and then he's like, well, I'm not really angry, and, you guys did a good job, because it made me, pay attention to what was going on. But
did we ever get a free Burger King from
No,
that?
we never did.
Because I submitted a form to get a free Burger King.
I don't think so, unless maybe it's in our spam filter or something.
Oh shit.
But he was saying, oh, Burger King has to donate money to charity, and then then I'll appreciate and respect them. And it's Burger King has its own charity.
Yeah.
They're also a failing business.
Are they failing? Was that something we learned in one of those random YouTube videos?
They're not doing
watched?
well.
Yeah.
They're definitely because they joined up with Popeyes and Tim Hortons. And,
yeah.
They're in that a weird conglomerate with all of them.
Beep, 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 beep.
I don't know, man.
Oh, I'm at that Pizza Hut. I'm at that Taco Bell. I'm at that combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
I hope Tom's okay.
Tom will never be okay, but I hope he's not dead. Tom is currently in the ER with the flu. Apparently, he's been gone all day ever since messaging me that at like noon.
Yeah, it must have been really bad
And
if
it's
he's
currently,
willing
like,
to
5:30.
subject himself to the ER.
Yeah.
The worst place.
In hell. Oh boy, we have been in Viridian City for a hot minute.
I mean,
Viridian Forest. Right?
I am just grinding.
Yeah.
For the Brock fight.
So, what levels are you gonna have your guys at when you fight Brock?
Well, Brock's Pokemon are, he's a level 14 Onyx, I think, so I can have up to level 14.
Whoa, he goes that high?
Yeah, I'm not gonna bother training them up to level 14, because I have Squirtle.
I didn't know that his Onyx was
I want to
that
have a
strong.
Butterfree.
My Onyx!
I don't know, we'll see,
Don't
see.
forget
I'm
that you
more
have to
worried about
fight,
the fight
Lightspeed
before,
boy.
yeah. I'm more worried about that boy, because he's a Sandshrew and a Diglett, I think.
Light. Speed of light.
I have to pee really bad.
What's the
I
thing
don't.
he says?
He says like, he says you're light years away from facing Brock, and then at the end he's like,
light years is a measure of distance, not time.
yeah. And it's like, yep, iconic Pokemon. My favorite Pokemon line is the Juggler who said my balls dropped. My balls dropped.
Does he really say
that?
that?
Yeah, he says that.
He says my balls dropped?
Yeah. And there's
That's incredible.
And there's the Gamble.
How has that not been a bigger meme than the I like shorts or whatever?
Because he's early in the game, and I feel like everybody has at least tried to replay the Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Probably haven't actually played through the whole games, though. And it's just like, oh, there's funny and endearing dialogue in these games. And that's just the one that sticks with them.
I don't know if I actually like... No, because I definitely remember the Light Years line from my childhood, but I don't remember, like, having read everything every NPC says, you know? I'm sure I read guys who are in gyms, but probably not just regular-ass trainers.
Yeah.
Why aren't you training in the patch of grass that's,
Because there's Metapods up here. Metapods will give you way more XP. They're like an XP pot.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
It's because they have a ton of HP. And they're a second evolution.
Metapod!
Or a first evolution, I guess.
Metapod! Metapod!
Metapod.
Metapod!
I really have to pee, so we should probably, like, end this episode.
Oh, you didn't want to end it after fighting Brock?
No. I don't want to have to grind that much.
Yeah, I'm pretty out of steam. I thought I had more rage inside of me, but the soothing light of my childhood game is like has lulled me into a sense of satisfaction and joy, and I no longer feel the burning hatred of JoJo fans that JoJo stans, I should say. I have no problem with JoJo fans, but JoJo stans are a huge problem. So yeah, I guess we'll end it right after this battle. You can just save and we can quit, and I'll upload it. Do you want to do any editing, or should I just upload it as is?
I wanna put the banner that at least has who we have in our party.
I'm telling you, man, it takes a lot of work. But
wanted to make sure we actually save because that seemed a little too fast for me. All right, this is our party. Got Wegmans,
to a computer, so
JoJo meme, and Dick shit. And there we go.
Excellent. See you next time.